Tesla sales are down 13%. Does this mean the end of Tesla? The second media started reporting Tesla sales are down, my comments section lit up with the end of EVs. Germany rejects EVs, the end of Tesla, nobody's buying EVs, the experiment is over, milk floats lose the fight, and a myriad of similar ones. So what is going on? I'm Dave, this is Dave Takes It On. Well, just for the moment, put aside the media, the hype, everything. They've got a job to do, selling newspapers or getting views and clicks. The facts often simply get in the way of any well-researched news items. We're going to look instead at the actual motor manufacturers who have a legal duty to report their financial status, units produced, units sold, profit and loss. You can check also the governments around the world. The dictators generally lie, but democracies generally do actually tell, well, much more of the truth. By the way, if you totally distrust all governments, then just go back to your regularly biased media source and believe everything they tell you. This video is not going to try and convert you. But here are the facts, the data. And a massive thank you to this goes to Jean of AV Universe for gathering such a wealth of data from around the world. Is Tesla going bust? Is Elon destroying the company? Well, let's deal in facts. In 2024, the total of EVs sold is 10,826,999. This includes over 99% of all sales. Yeah, there are some who do not make it easy to determine their exact figures, like Hyundai, for example, which generally reports Kona sales but does not usually distinguish between ICE, hybrid and full EV in their financial reports. Well, looking back every single year since 2010, EVs have sold more than the previous year. By the way, this covers BEVs, which are by definition run on batteries only, so no PHEVs, no hybrids, no hydrogen, no medium to large commercial vehicles either. 2024 saw a 5% increase in world sales compared to 2023. 37 markets saw a growth and 21 markets saw a decline. That makes 14.5% of total car and light vehicles sold in the world were fully electric in 2024 compared to 11.7% in 2023. Or every seventh vehicle sold in 2024 was fully electric. But growth and decline exist side by side. So who won, who lost? China saw growth of 1.3% with 6,340,000 of those EVs. Europe saw a 1.3% decline at just under 2 million. The US saw 7.3% growth to 1.3 million. The rest of the world saw a massive 45.1% growth, 1.2 million BEV sales. And the best-selling EV in the world in each of those markets was the Tesla Model Y. In the world, China, Europe and USA. In 3 of the 4, the Tesla Model 3 was the second best-selling car, while China had the BYD Seagull as second. 2024 also made the Tesla Model Y the best-selling car globally of any fuel in the world for a second year running. Could the 2025 prediction that the new Model Y refresh, once it starts worldwide deliveries, will beat these and become a reality? Obviously, not the regular comment writers. They're already typing. By region, China saw over 6 million sales. The number one best-selling BEV was the Tesla Model Y, 480,309. Then came the BYD Seagull, 453,593. Finally, the BYD Yuan Plus, 275,223. Yeah, I know I can see the BYD song sold far more, but the breakdown of EV versus PHEV also shows that 80% of the songs were PHEVs. That this video does not count. I also know that the media report BYD outside Tesla in China. Yeah, but this data and video is model by model data. BYD has far more models than the 2 that Tesla manufactures in China. Detail is everything. Best-selling BEV in China, the Model Y. Europe's bestseller was also the Tesla Model Y with 211,397 sales. Model 3, 113,783. Skoda Enyaq displacing 2023 third place winner VW ID4 with 78,882. Growth was negative in Europe as a whole, but two interesting facts emerge. First, German EV sales did indeed crash 27.4%, all models, all makes, and that catapulted the UK into the largest BEV market in Europe, with growth 21.4% year on year. By the way, if you remove Germany from the figures, then Europe showed a positive growth of 7.85%. In the US, Tesla Model Y managed 372,613 sales, Model 3 230,015, and the Mustang Mach-E 51,745. Chevy Bolt, which was the 2023 third place winner, dropped to 34th place. Well, in detail, California accounted for 378,910 of those sales. This meant that in the US as a whole, BEVs accounted for 1 in 5 sales of all cars, with a 21.6% penetration. Now in Europe, Germany sales fell 27.4%, but the rest of Europe did rather better. France saw a small decline, 2.6% down, while Netherlands is 16% up, Belgium 36.9% up, Norway 9.4% up, Denmark 421.2% up, Malta 90.5% up, Finland 26% down, Portugal 14.7% up, Switzerland 12.5% down, Austria 6.3% down, Ukraine 37% up, Ireland 23.6% down, Hungary 47% up, Cyprus 51%, Greece 36%, Spain 11%, Italy 1% down. I hope you get the picture. You can pick any one of these to make your argument, but overall EV sales are growing and by no means dead. Well, two reports from our Antipodean neighbours, Australia and New Zealand. Australia saw growth 4.7% for 2024, while New Zealand saw a decline of 69.8% as the government penalised EV owners far more heavily than ICE owners, with costs as much as twice as much in road tax as a PHEV and 23% more than petrol. Strange. Now, some anomalies do show up here. First of all, the comments I get about EVs being useless in the cold. We have a group of countries with EV penetration between 26 and 88%. That includes Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Finland and Iceland. Do they know something we don't? 12 regions recorded sales at over 100,000 vehicles, led by China, but followed also by Canada with 40.7% growth versus 2023. 9 countries doubled their BEV sales, including Morocco, Mexico. 16 countries now have more than 20% of new car sales as BEVs, while a further 28 countries have between 10% and 20% penetration. Overall, 37 regions saw increased BEV sales, while 21 countries saw a decrease. India also makes the headlines. It's the 4th largest car market in the world. Previously, they were very heavily home-produced vehicles only. They're late to the EV game, but they sold 99,055 BEVs in 2024, showing a growth of 20.8%, and that's just the four-wheelers. They're famed for their 2- and 3-wheelers. They too showed remarkable growth, with 3-wheelers now at 57% BEVs. Well, let me preempt my comment section by saying that the deniers will latch onto all those countries that saw a decline and totally ignore or dispute those that grew. This is just what we have to face up with. Exploitation of very limited and selective data to prove a global point. So for the globalists, we saw a 5% growth overall in BEVs in 2024, and the best-selling car in the world using any fuel was the Tesla Model Y. That's a full BEV. Ah, yes, but that was then. This is now. Not so confident there, are you? I expect to hear. So let's have a look at 2025. First quarter, these are provisional figures, not yet backed up by the financial reports, but likely to be pretty close to accurate. BMW had mixed fortunes. Their i4 reported 7,125 sales, up 57%. The iX, 2,626, up 23.1%, while the i5 and i7 dropped to 888, down 10.4%, and 1899, down 15%. GM sees a massive leap with the Silverado, 2,382, and the Equinox, 10,329. In total, 31,887 BEVs sold in Q1 2025. Ford's had a dismal time with just 7,187 F1 Lightnings and 11,607 Mach-E's. Although overall sales are up by 11.5%, they lag seriously behind rivals General Motors. 22,500 versus 32. BMW had a strong start with 26.4, 13,500 vehicles. Hyundai, passable time, while Kia fell back with both the EV6 and EV9. Toyota, them that don't believe in EVs, sold 5,610 BZ4s, up 105%. VW, who do believe in EVs, sold just 1,901 ID Buzz, 7,500 ID4s. Elsewhere in Japan, it was a mixed bag. Lexus down 9.3%, Nissan Leaf up a staggering 103.4%. Oh, now who have I left out? Oh yeah, Tesla. The headline news for this video. Tesla on the brink of collapse, closing down. Well, they sold 336,681. It's not a relevant figure, so I haven't calculated it, but it looks like Tesla just about outsold all the other EV makers added together. Don't always take media reports at face value. We're in Osborne territory here, with buyers awaiting the refresh Model Y, so effectively Tesla has only the Model 3 and the old Model Ys on sale, and still they hit 1/3 deliveries. Not produced, delivered, and these are delivered direct to end customers, as Tesla does not sell to dealers. In China, where the first of the Model Y refresh cars are being delivered, the figures seem to indicate they're being delivered at record rates. We will have that data soon, but here in the rest of the world, those Model Y refresh models won't hit the road until May at the earliest. Do we have a new best-selling car ever in 2025? Gonna have to wait and see. But a picture for 2025, tariffs accepted, more of the same. EVs are here to stay. EVs are seeing positive growth around the world. EVs are on track to continue this growth. Battery tech, energy density, efficiency, they've all advanced. So for those that need it, it's not many, EVs with the best part of 1,000-mile range and 10-minute charging are soon to appear on our roads. The first to charge in under 5 minutes is already in production. Yeah, it makes me wonder what the next excuse will be once we can charge as fast as filling with petrol. It's probably going to be, oh, the grid cannot cope. We've got to stop this now, or we'll get continuous blackouts every day for hours at a time. Well, I can't finish without a quick mention of tariffs. These are likely to disrupt sales of everything throughout most of the world. EVs will not escape scot-free. But a really fascinating fact just emerged that indicates that Tesla will fare better than most. Tesla now has gigafactories in the US, in Europe and in China, and in each of those markets they've set up their own locally sourced independent supply chains. They probably buy in less parts and components from outside their geographical area than any other manufacturer. In America, for example, the percentage of the Model 3 and Y that's made in America is hovering around 88%. But the key here is the marketplace for the finished cars that they do make. Most US-made cars are delivered to US customers. Most of the European-made cars are delivered to European customers. And despite a very healthy export rate, the majority of Chinese cars are delivered to Chinese customers. Even where cars are exported, like from China, the end markets being anywhere and everywhere other than America, they actually have very low tariff rates, generally less than 10%. While producing cars from mainly locally sourced parts and components and selling them to locals in the country where they are manufactured means virtually no tariffs can be applied. An American manufactured Tesla EV, having far fewer externally made parts, will pay a fraction of the tariffs that Ford or GM, for example, will have to pay, simply because they both multiple components from Mexico and Canada and then assemble the final cars often in those countries before exporting them into the US. GM is estimated to make around 50% of its cars outside of the US. Typical tariffs are reported to be several $1,000s per car for them, maybe much more. This was in fact encouraged by the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, negotiated by previous presidents and passed into law by, yep, you guessed it, one Donald J. Trump in January 2020. One final thought on tariffs. Trump at present doesn't appear to personally get a penny or a cent of those tariffs. Anyone out there want to take a bet that we're going to see a change in the law very soon, stating that they must in future be collected by the importers, but then immediately passed on to one Donald J. Trump personally, who will guarantee and promise to invest them very wisely to benefit all Americans equally? Well, thanks very much for watching. I'm Dave. If you have enjoyed this, please click the like button. If you'd like to see more, please click subscribe and hit the notification bell so we can notify you every time we launch a vehicle. Big thank you to our Patreon members. Thanks very much for your support. I'm Dave.